Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Teddi Mellencamp's small son lives in fear, checks her breathing amid cancer battle. Reality star Teddi Mellencamp has recently been sharing her health journey with fans, especially following a diagnosis of stage 4 cancer. Recently, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills opened up about her family amid her cancer battle and how they are handling things. In particular, she shared an emotional story about her son, as well as some advice for fans. Mellencamp, the daughter of musician John Mellencamp, is arguably best known to audiences thanks to appearing on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She had been part of the main cast from seasons 8 to 10, appearing as a guest in subsequent seasons. Back in October 2022, Teddi had been diagnosed with a form of skin cancer, stage 2 melanoma, which progressed to stage 4 by April 2025. In addition, she has been hospitalized for brain tumors. Over the past few months, Teddi has shared her story with various outlets, including podcasts and her own social media accounts. Recently, she spoke with Extra's Billy Bush about this difficult time. Teddi appeared with a blonde wig, musing that, "I was like, I can't be looking like I got a toupee up here." She admitted, "Today is a good day. I think what I've learned through all of this is some days I'm gonna feel great. Some days I'm not. Everybody's journey's different." Teddi noted that she tries to keep positive through it all. She shared, "I would say a big thing has been all of the people messaging me saying, 'I went and got checked because of you,' or 'My doctor only had me get this checked. And then I said, no, you should also do this.'" The Real Housewives alum also discussed when she can expect to learn more. She continued, "Wednesday, I go in and get my next TAT scan, where they'll find out if these recent tumors are getting smaller. And then I also get my third round of immunotherapy." That said, she had courage over what would happen. She shared, "I feel like in my heart of hearts, I'm going to beat it." However, Teddi also shared she's still worried for her kids. She noted, "I get sad at the idea of not, and my kids are young. My kids are young, and I still have a lot more trouble to cause. I have so much. I'm nowhere near ready, and I feel like I'm gonna fight as hard as I possibly can. But no, it's scary." As for how her kids are handling things, Teddi shared, "I think the girls are okay because they just are so chatty. You know, they ask everything. Crew is my son. He is a little bit confused because he's not asking questions." The Real Housewives star noted her son has especially grown concerned for her. "The other day, I was taking a sip of something, and he goes, 'Can I have a sip?' I was like, 'Yeah, sure.' And he goes, 'Never mind, actually you're contagious.' And I'm like, 'I'm actually not contagious, bud.' And like, he'll come in the middle of the night, and like, check that I'm breathing." Before the conversation was over, Teddi also wanted to share some important advice for fans. "Go get checked. Everybody do it. I know it's annoying. I know the appointment may be 3 months out and it'll drive you nuts, but it's worth it." Have you been following this story? Make sure you come back to TV Shows Ace for all the latest reality TV and celebrity news. In a world where superheroes don't always wear capes, sometimes they walk quietly through the halls of their homes, bald from chemo, weary from surgery, but never short on love. For Teddi Mellencamp, former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star, the real battle hasn't been on screen. It's been inside her body, and perhaps even more powerfully, in the hearts of her children. Especially in the tender heart of her youngest son, who, despite his age, now bears the invisible weight of fear. Cancer doesn't just attack the person it inhabits. It echoes through the lives of their loved ones, seeping into morning routines, bedtime rituals, and the quiet moments in between. For Teddi's son, those echoes are louder than most. A child still learning to spell his own name is now learning what mortality means. And that's a lesson no child should have to learn so early. Every day, he tiptoes into his mother's room, not with the eager bounce of a boy ready to demand pancakes, but with the cautious steps of someone bracing for silence. He watches her chest rise and fall, carefully, breath by breath. It's not just love, it's vigilance. He's listening for life. That kind of fear becomes a language of its own, a vocabulary built on sighs, scans, and whispers between grown-ups behind closed doors. A warrior in yoga pants and courage, has shared much of her health journey with fans. Diagnosed with stage I melanoma, she's chronicled surgeries and checkups, scars and scares. But some moments, the most heart-wrenching ones, can't be captured in an Instagram post. Like when her son curls up beside her, tiny hand on her stomach, just to make sure she's still breathing. He doesn't know the statistics or the stages. He just knows he wants his mommy to stay. What do you do when your child becomes your caretaker? When their little soul learns to carry fear before they've even learned fractions. Teddi talks about strength, about fighting for herself, her family, her future. But beneath that bravery is a soft ache, a mother's guilt. Not guilt for being sick, but for how that sickness has reshaped her children's innocence. Her son's brown eyes, once wide with curiosity, are now shadowed with grown-up worry. And still, every night, he kisses her forehead with the same softness, as if his love alone could heal her. They say children are resilient, and they are. But resilience is not the absence of fear, it's the quiet triumph of choosing love anyway. Her son doesn't understand the complexity of oncology, but he knows his mother needs him. He becomes her shadow, her gentle nurse, her mini-soldier. He asks if she's okay 5 times a day, not because he forgets her answer, but because the fear is louder than logic. In many ways, their bond has deepened. Cancer has a cruel way of burning away the superficial and leaving only the raw, real parts behind. Between the hospital visits and long naps, there are stories whispered under covers, little fingers tracing her healing scars, and hugs that last longer than they used to. These are the stolen treasures, the sacred silver linings in a storm of uncertainty. Teddi, ever the public figure, has used her platform to educate, advocate, and inspire, but no filter can soften the truth of what it means to be a sick mom with a scared child. And yet, she allows the world to peek in, not for pity, but to show others they're not alone. That courage looks like a 5-year-old whispering, "Are you breathing?" in the dark. Her son doesn't need to understand the entire battle to be brave. Every time he tucks a blanket around her or brings her water or flashes a smile when she's too tired to stand, he is part of her healing. Children, with their pure hearts and intuitive spirits, often become the quiet glue holding families together. No child should have to wonder if their mom will wake up. But this boy, so small and so brave, lives every day with that question, and still finds joy in drawing her pictures, still holds her hand with fierce conviction. His love doesn't shrink in the shadow of fear, it grows. For every parent battling illness, there's a child somewhere who suddenly becomes an old soul. And for every Teddi Mellencamp, there's a son who watches, who worries, who loves with a depth that defies his years. In this home, strength doesn't just come in the form of treatment plans or surgical scars. It comes in nighttime check-ins and morning snuggles. In a little boy who fears the silence but chooses to sing anyway. In a mother who fights for her future, and perhaps more importantly, for his. This is not just a story of cancer. It's a story of a mother and son, holding hands through the dark. A reminder that even in fear, there is tenderness. Even in illness, there is connection. And even in the quietest rooms, where breath is counted and hearts pound with hope, love lives the loudest.